Ayan. Okay. I'm going to use this whiteboard over here. I'm going to use this one. Okay, investment in associate. So we have two parties involved here, the investor and the investee. And hindi sa lahat ng panahon na just because nag-invest tayo, tawag sa atin is associate na or investor in associate, tawag sa atin subsidiary or what. So naay mga certain requirements before ta makaingon that we are investing in an associate. So imagine this as you are the investor. And you have this company over here. You call this your investee. So, hindi sa lahat ng panahon, again, associate ang tawag dyan. So, mag-i-invest tayo sa company na ito. And let's say that this time, we invest for 20% or more. So, pasabot ani, nipalit ta sa shares ni investing at 20% or more. Ang tawag dyan sa 20% or more, pwede na nato siya tawagon as associate. This investee is now called an associate. Therefore, this investment is called investment in associate. So, bottom line, kung nag-invest sa company or nagpalit sa iyahang share pero wala kaabot og 20% atong gipalit sa iyaha, dili na to siya pwede tawag og investment in associate. So, remember our equity investment nga topic, hindi natin makikita ang account doon na investment in associate kasi it is assumed na ginagmay lang na shares atong gipalit. So, again, kung ginagmay lang na shares, pwede lang investment in ABC company or investment in DEF company, ingana lang. But you cannot call it investment in associate unless you bought 20% or more of the shares of your investee or the associate company. Now, another thing that we need to consider, if this is an investment in associate, remember that we are going to use the equity method of recording investment. Equity method. And remember as well that this equity method is only applicable sa ordinary shares na investment. So, kung nipalit ka sa kumpanya og preference share, maskin pag 30% na ang imuhang gipalit sa iyaha, you cannot consider it as an investment in associate using the equity method. So, you could use cost method or fair value method through P&L or OCI, but not equity method. So, ma'am, unsa day ning equity method? That is something that we are going to learn this morning as we go along with our discussion. But before that, let us set up this investment in associate T account. Okay? So, remember this T account, ato ning dungagan og mga items later. So, ato sa ta sa inyong module, sa inyong assignment, let's begin with Caesar Company. So, atong requirement diri is to prepare journal entries and to determine the carrying amount of the investment in associate. May nag-answer na naman. Sino na namang nag-answer dito? Okay. I see. So, andyan na pala. So, ato na lang ning i-set up daan si investment in associate. The last time that we used this kind of analysis was, again, in receivable. Diba? Nag-T account ta dito sa receivable. So, mag-T account na punta din hiya sa ato ang investment in associate. So, the first thing, since this is an asset, specifically most of the time, this is a non-current asset. Okay? This is a non-current asset. Therefore, ang normal balance niya is naa sa debit. Therefore, dire na to ibutang ang acquisition at cost. Okay? So, pag nag-acquire ta sa ito ang investment, lalagay natin siya sa debit or i-debit nato si investment in associate. What else? Every time na magkakaroon ng profit ang investee, okay? Remember, kinsa to si investee? Katong company nga ato ang gi-investan. So, share in profit. The same goes sa acquisition at cost. Nasa debit din siya. Ang iyahang partner is investment income. Okay? Next, how about share in loss? So, kung share in profit nasa debit, so ang loss is naa sa credit. So, share in the loss of investee company. I'm so sorry about my penmanship. Pero, yun na. Ilhanan daw na siya sa mga gwapa. Next, unsa pa bang laing butang na pwede natong timan-an or ibutang sa ato ang investment in associate T account? We also have, asa naman to kung kodigo? We also have any excess of our cost over the fair value should also be included in our T account, specifically in the debit side. So, what if your cost or excess, gilagay na lang natin, excess of cost over fair value. Okay? The same, nasa debit din siya. So, don't worry, these items ato ni siyang ma-encounter later. And then, another thing that will appear in our T account is also the net fair value over cost. And that will be on the debit side. Net fair value over cost. And lastly, any changes in the equity nga dili mo appear sa ato ang income statement that will have an effect on our investment as well, mo appear sa ato ang account. And that is what we call the revaluation surplus. Okay, revaluation surplus. Kamo na bahala ang sabot sa ako ang agi. Okay. So, any revaluation surplus will increase our investment in associate and a credit of that is revaluation surplus. So, ato pang butangan og ihang mga partner, every time that we debit an investment in associate kay naatay nipalit ta og investment at cost, our credit is most of the time cash. So, yung mga naka-red, yan yung partner niya na account. So, debit investment in associate, credit cash. Hindi sa lahat ng bagay, pwede din ang imuhang ibayad kay property, so you credit the property. Next, share in profit. Every time we debit investment in associate because we have share in profit, ang atuang credit is investment income. Okay? Investment income. It is the opposite of share in loss. So, kung naatay income, kay naatay share sa profit, share in loss will have a debit of loss on investment. So, debit loss on investment and then credit investment in associate. Next, net fair value over cost. Ganun pa rin, investment income. Excess of cost over fair value, ganun pa rin, investment income. How about revaluation surplus? So, every time natin revaluation surplus, we debit investment in associate and then credit revaluation surplus investee. So, lagyan mong investee. Kasi pwede ding mag-revaluation si investor. So, para makita nato ang difference, lagyan mo ng apelyido. Revaluation surplus investee. So, bear this in mind. Gagamitin natin to as we analyze some problems along the way. Okay? So far, wala po bang problem? Walang question? Okay. Kung wala, let's answer. Kung mas maayo nga inyo nang gi-copy or gi-note para diretso-diretso na nga to ang pag-share sa screen later. Let's proceed to our problem 1, assignment in investment in associate. We have Caesar Company, and we are required to first prepare journal entries for the current year to recognize the transactions and to determine the carrying amount of the investment in associate. Okay. First, Caesar Company acquired a 40% interest in film company for 1.7 on January 1, 2019. So, itong nasa baba are details about film company. Okay. So first, on January 1, 2019, all the identifiable assets and liabilities of film company were recorded at fair value, so wala tayong problema dyan. Therefore, yung 1.7 na binayad natin sa kanya na cost is actually the fair value. So any excess, walang excess. Okay? Wala tayong i-consider na excess kasi equal lang ang fair value saka yung cost na binayad natin. Film company reported a profit of 650,000 after income tax expense of 350 and paid dividends of 150. So, let's start. Here are the journal entries. Let's begin with 1/1/2019. Nagbayad ta 1.7 in exchange of this investment in associate. So, investment in associate na siya, as you could see, 40% ang atuang gipalit. But take note, if moabot ka sa time nga nag-invest ka o more than 50%, let's say nag-invest ka mga 60, 70, mga ingana, most of the time, ang tawag sa imuha, subsidiary. Okay? Ang tawag sa imong investment is investment in subsidiary, something na atuang matakel when we come to our advanced accounting na subject. So, we have here a credit of cash. Ay, asa man to? Cash, and that is 1.7 million. Next, since this is an investment in associate, therefore, we have a share on the net income of the investee. So, pansin nato, wala tayong ani nga feature sa equity investment, right? Kung nai-income ang kadtong company nga itong gi-investan, wala tayo labot. Igo rata na kinabang sa ilaha or igo rata mo dawat og dividends. But when it comes to investment in associate, any income or profit sa atuang investee, makinabang sadta or naa sadtay share. So, pila atong share, depende kung pila nga tuwang interest sa company. And we call this investment income. So, based dun sa ginawa nating T-account kanina, right? Every time nga na ay share in profit, i-debit si investment in associate. Ang partner, investment income. So, sabi pa, we have 650,000. After income tax expense na yan, so wala nang babayarang tax, binayaran na, times 40%. Therefore, we have a share of 260,000 sa profit ni investee. Next, we have received a dividend kasi nagbigay din siya ng dividend. Ay, wala nga pala yung dividend dun sa T-account natin. So, yun yung something na kulang dun sa T-account. So, balikan natin ang ating Jamboard. At nawala siya. Okay, mag-share ulit tayo. Let's go back to our... Ay, nawala na. Nawala na ang ating Jamboard. Okay, so, wala naman di ay. So, never mind. Dili na lang ta. Balik na lang ta diri ah. Okay. So, ilagay mo na lang dun sa credit na side, dividend. So, ang nasa to ang credit, we have dividend, we have share in the loss, and excess of cost over fair value. So, may tatlong items tayo dun sa credit ng investment. So, we received here a dividend, specifically a cash dividend, and we credit investment in associate. So, tanaw na po na to ang difference. When we were using when we are discussing about equity investment, the previous and investment, ang atoang entry every time that we receive a dividend is debit the dividend that we receive and then credit dividend income. But this time, using the equity method, dili na siya ingana. Instead, ang atoang i-credit hindi na dividend income, kundi investment in associate. So, ayun, nakuha pala ni Glemar ang picture. Kaso kulang yan. So, may credit pa dyan na dividend. Okay? So, credit your investment in associate every time there is a dividend. And this time, 150,000, but 40% lang man na to ang share diraa. So, you have 60,000. Next, ano pa bang ibang ganap dito? If you could notice na ay revaluation nga 1.3. Ang share capital ni film, dili niya to ang information. Information ni sa company kung asa ta nag-invest kay film. So dito sa kumpanya, ang ihang share capital wala nag-change throughout the year, pero na siya revaluation surplus na 1.3. At andun yon sa T-account natin. So take note natin to. We also have change in retained earnings from 1 million naging 500. Unsa ba ang mga items nga makapa-change sa atong retained earnings? 'Di ba income, it increases retained earnings. Loss, bawas sa retained earnings, dito na siya padulong. What else? Dividends, 'di ba? Every time nga mag-issue tag dividends, gina-debit nato si retained earnings. So on the part of investee, ang 500 na change is actually from income na 650. So that's 1. And then, decrease of 150 nga dividends. So, ang net niya is 500,000. So, the difference of 1 million and 500,000 is from the profit 650 minus 150 nga dividends. Therefore, we will have another entry na revaluation surplus. And every time there is a revaluation on the investee, unsa ganito, atong i-debit ang investment in associate. Debit investment in associate. And then we credit revaluation surplus investee. Or this time, film company. Or pwede na rin investee kung wala ka rin namang ibang investment. And how much? 1.3. Again, 40% lang yung share natin dyan. Huwag kang hangarl. So, makishare ka lang. Ayan. 520,000. Unsa pa ba? Ayan, in-explain niya kung saan galing yung revaluation. It is the result of the revaluation of land, and additionally, yung depreciation ni film is hindi pareho sa depreciation ni Caesar. Kung gumamit lang sana si film ng parehong method sa depreciation ni Caesar, which is straight line, supposedly, ang iyahang accumulated depreciation madungagan og 200. So, unsa bay partner gani ni accumulated depreciation? Basta mag-entry ta. Di ba depreciation expense? So, kung madungagan ang expense, supposedly, mugamay si income. Kay, mura man na siya tag of war. Kung birahon ni expense, mugamay si income. Kung mudako si income, mugamay si expense. But, does this need an adjustment? Actually, the standard says, hindi mo na kailangang i-adjust. Kung para naman kay Caesar, mas justifiable na straight line iyang gamiton, then go, straight line. Pero kung para kay film, ang justifiable na method is diminishing balance or ibang method, then go. Yun pa rin ang gagamitin. So, wala tayong gagawing adjustment as is na tong income nga, 650,000. So, that's it for our journal entries. Requirement number 2, however, we need to compute the carrying amount of the investment in associates. So, sige. Pwede lang na to siya idiretso. Sige nga. We have 1.7 sa sugod. And then, nadungagan og 260,000. Ayan, naka-debit. Hanap tayo ng ibang investment income. Associate. Ayan din. And plus this. Therefore, we have an investment in associate carrying amount na 2.42 million. But actually, kung gagawin natin ang T account approach na ginamit or present natin kanina, we will arrive at the same answer. So, kaning 2.42 nga pag-compute na to kasi may entries tayong ginawa. So, what if wala tayo entries? So, para mas dali, let's use this investment in associate na T account. Asa man ang merge dire? Ay, walang merge. Ay, ayan. Okay. We call this investment. Let me present it using the T account. Investment in associate. So, we have the cost of 1.7. Tama? Katotong gigamit. Dara. As if wala tayong ginawang entries, ha? Ito, 1.7. What else? We have profit. Asa gani mo appear ang profit, di ba, sa debit? So, that is 650,000 times 0.4. We also have a share on the dividends. And asa gani mo appear si dividends? Credit. That's 150 times 0.4. We have another item which is the revaluation surplus. And again, it will appear in the debit side. And that's it. Wala nang ibang items. Let's add both sides and then let's get the difference. So we have 17 plus 260. We have 2480 and then we have 60,000 here. Ang net, we have 2480 minus 60,000. Then we have 2.42. It's actually the same sa ato ang i-compute kaganina based on the journal entries that we prepared. So, you can use this one kung ang tinatanong lang naman is mga amount or ending balance, mga things like that. So, you don't have to prepare the journal entry para hindi na siya ganun katagal. You could use this one using the guide that we discussed earlier. So, that is for our first problem. However, let's proceed to investment in associate problem number 2. We are going to talk about disgust company. We are required to prepare journal entries, ganun pa rin, compute the investment income, and compute the carrying amount at year end. Sige. Journal entries. At the beginning of the current year, disgust company purchased 3,000 shares of an investee's 200,000 outstanding shares for 6 million. Therefore, we have investment in associate and cash 6 million. Okay. Next, on that date, the carrying amount of the acquired shares was 4 million. Okay. Ay, wait. 3,000 shares of an investee's 200,000 outstanding shares. Ay, hala, feel ko may mali ako dito. Ay, nadyan ko yung mali. Sorry. Ay, sorry na ako yung mali. Okay. Since na ako yung mali, change ko, and then, gagawin nating drill. Yung mali ko dito is hindi pala siya 3,000 shares. Kasi pag 3,000 shares, like super liit. 3,000 divided by 200,000. So, you barely have 1.5% lang na ownership. So, hindi pala yan siya 3,000, kundi 30,000. So, 30,000 divided by 200,000. So, you have 15% interest sa investee mo. Okay, so using this problem, and let's make this as a drill, let's compute for, so later na lang ang journal entries. Let's compute for the investment income and the carrying amount. So, yan, drill na naman. The same lang gihapon. Ma'am, something's wrong with your audio. Hello? Something's wrong pa rin? Check mic test. Hello?
Murag na ay saba.
Okay, so okay, kung okay naman na, sige, proceed tayo. Investment income and carrying amount. One participation point each. So, kung na-answer mo yung number 2, then 1 point ka na. Pag na-answer mo naman yung number 3, then another point. Hindi kita marinig, Arls.
Hello, ma'am.
Yan. Check. Check mic test. Hello? Madungog
Hello,
ang
ma'am.
fan. Like, maingay bang fan? Super ingay ba ng fan?
Medyo na yung tingog, ma'am.
Ay, hindi akong tingog. Check. Mic testing. Check. Mic test. How about that? Di ka madungog, Arlie. Gamit na lang ako ng iba na namang earphones. Sige, answer na lang sa drill.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, ayan. Okay na ba to? Check. Ayan. Feel ko okay na to.
Okay na, ma'am.
Okay, sige. So, yun yung drill. Number 2, number 3. Depende kung saan yung unang makukuha mong answer. Ayan. So we have answers from Glemar. Hindi ka na nga pwedeng mag-answer. Ikaw talaga. Mhm. Sige. And daw, tanawon sa nako kung nanay nakakuha. Okay. Ayan. Abi na kog exercise. Drill nga, 'di ba? Drill nga 'yon. Padlungon. Sige, so eliminate natin si Glemar dun sa sa mga qualified. So unqualified na to si Glemar. Disqualified ka na, Glems. Tingnan natin tong isa. Si Miss Giliera, however, wala pa pala si Miss Giliera. Kamasura naman, Miss Kamasura, naka-answer ka na 3 times. So, hindi na rin pwede. Okay? So, magpo-proceed ako sa next person. So, the next time, wag na lang muna po tayo mag-answer. So, pwede tayo mag-answer, pwede nga di na to i-share na lang. Ha? Okay. Let's find out kung tama ba yung mga answers. Let's prepare journal entries. Investment in associate, that is, ayan, 6 million na pala. 6 million na. And then, on that date, the carrying amount of the acquired shares was 4 million. So, if you could notice, 6 million na itong gibayad, which is the cost. Pero, ang carrying amount is 4 million. So, excess nga 2 million. Excess of cost over fair value or excess of cost over carrying amount. Now, where is it attributed? It is attributed to the patent, which has a remaining useful life of 10 years. So, later, magamit na to na siya nga information. Now, during the year, discussed company's officers gained a majority on the investees board of directors. So, kung inyong napansin, hindi siya aabot ng 20% significant influence, di ba? 20% na interest. It's 30,000 divided by 200,000 nga total shares outstanding. That is just 15%. Okay? 15%. Then, di ba, associate, isa sa mga ilhanan nga, associate siya if naakay 20% or more nga investment dinha sa company. But look at this, 15%. So, supposedly, hindi to investment in associate. Investment in shares lang siya. But, on the third paragraph, discussed company's officers gained a majority on the investees board of directors. So, isa siya sa ilhanan na even though wala ka nakaabot sa 20% nga limit or nga level, but since majority sa board of directors sa kadto nga kumpanya is actually imuhang board of directors, so again, they have this significant influence sa kadto nga company or sa imuhang associate or investee. Therefore, we could still consider it as investment in associate. That is one signal or one sign na associate nato siya. Again, although wala nakaabot og 20%. So, the investee reported 5 million na earnings. So, that's share in profits. And if it's share in profits, we include it in our debit. Tama? Investment in associate for the share in profits. And ang partner niya is investment income. So, that is 5 million times 15. Tama? 15% lang man ang atuang ownership. That's 750,000. And also, we received cash as a dividend. And unsa gayto ba sa dividend? Credit your investment in associate. And nag-distribute sila 3 million pero 15% lang ang ato diha. So, we received cash of 450 million. What else? Can you still remember katong gingon ka ganina na excess of cost over fair value or carrying amount? That excess actually deserves an entry. And katudo nga difference, pila bang difference? 2 million, right? Is attributable to the 10-year patent. So, we're going to debit investment income. Investment income gihapon nihang partner, right? And then credit your investment in associate. Andun din siya sa T account natin, naka-credit. Investment in associate. And this is 2 million na difference divided by 10. Kasi 10 years daw nato to nga mapakinabangan. So, wag nating i-recognize na agad-agad lump sum. Kasi 10 years pa naman ang life ng asset na yon. So, tagi-tagi lang sa ang ato ang pag-recognize sa ato ang difference na 2 million. So, that is 200,000. And that would be our entries. Now, for question number 2, how much is the investment income? So, madali lang. Again, investment income is 750 plus, pa ba? Ay, wala na. Ito lang, minus, that's 750 minus your 200 na nakadebit. So, you have investment income of 550,000. So, looking at our T account, so balikan natin yung T account na ginawa natin kanina. Thank you, Glemar. Sige. Loading pa. Okay. Eto. So, balikan natin yung T account. Unsa lang man na items ang maka-affect sa tuwang investment income gani. You have share in profit, net fair value over cost, and your excess of cost over fair value. And in our problem, duha lang ang present. The share in profit and excess of cost over fair value. So, since magkaibang bahay, naka-debit yung isa naka-credit, so i-deduct natin. That's why we have 750 minus 200,000. So, we came up with 550 net investment income. Carrying amount, however, since we prepared the journal entries, madali na lang din. So, you have 6 million there plus your 750,000 minus your 450 and minus your 200. So, you have 6.1 million. But if we are going to use, again, the T account, so allow me to copy this one dito sa problem number 2 natin. Ayan. Kung saan yung i-delete. Okay. Investment in associate, we started with 6 million na cost. Tama. 6 million. And then share in income, we have an income of 5 million. And 15% lang atong share. We have a dividend of 3 million. 15% lay atoa. And then we also have this excess of cost over fair value nga 2 million attributable sa 10 years nga patent. So we have 200,000. And what else? Wala namang revaluation and etc. So you have 6,750 and you have 650 on your credit. Therefore, the net is 6.1, which is equal to the one that we computed using the journal entry. So you have 6.1 as your carrying amount of the investment. And for our drill, we have, since nakuha naman sana ni Glemar pero eliminated siya. So we have Miss Giliera who got the question number 2 na 550,000. And for 6.1, that was supposed to be Noreen, but Miss Kamasura also had 3 points already. So, Besana will have the 3.1. 6.1 answer. So, ayun. Angeline, ayan. Sayang yung kay Angeline. 6 million yung binigay niya. Okay. Eber, who also got the 550. And, ayan. Ayan. Ni-answer man gud si Ate Glemar. Gahe dyan ni gulo si Ate Glemar. Ikaw dyan, Ate Glemar ba? Okay, so that is our problem number 2. So, ano po bang meron sa problem number 3? Okay. Alpha Company. And that is Ayan. Alpha Company acquired 20,000 shares of Beta Company on January 1 at 120 per share. Beta had 80,000 shares. So let's find out daw kung pila ka percent atong interest. Nipalitag 20 over 80,000. We have 25% interest. So natay significant influence. This could be an investment in associate. So we bought it at 120 per share, although the carrying amount is 8 million. Are we required to prepare journal entries? Ay, hindi naman kailangan. Pero sige, prepare pa rin tayo para mas masabtan yun na to. But later na lang tayo mag-prepare og journal entries. I-try na tog answer ang kini nga mga questions na hindi gumagamit ng journal entry. So, gamitan na tog katong analysis using the T account that we provided earlier. First, we compute for the investment income. So, unsa lang ang pwedeng maka-affect gani sa tuang investment income? Share in profit, excess of fair value over cost, and net fair value over cost. Okay. The difference between the carrying amount and the fair value, pila ba ang difference? Pila day ang iyahang cost? We have 20,000 times 120 each. Okay. That's 2.4. And then we have 8 million times 0.25. 2 million. So the difference of 400,000. The difference of 400,000 is attributable to a broadcast license intangible asset. Ay, ayan. Intangible asset pala. Okay. Beta Company recorded earnings of 3.6 and 3.9 for 2019-2020 and dividends. Ayan, every year din siyang nagbibigay ng dividends. Maganda. Maganda tong kumpanyang to. Alpha Company has a 20-year straight line amortization for broadcast license. So, ayun, we have the idea na nga ato siyang i-amortized for 20 years. So, let's compute for net investment income. Let's start with the share in profits. So, pila ba ang share in profits na to? We have 3.6. Ayan. 3.6 times 0.25 plus 3.9 times 0.25. That's for the profits. Next, unsa pa ba? Excess of cost. Tama. Okay, investment income for 2019 lang di ay. So, eto lang. Plus ang atuang share in the excess of cost over fair value. So, di ba 2.4 man to versus 2 million? So, that's 400,000 difference. Attributable to 20 years nga life ni broadcast license. So, how much is this? Friends, we have 3.6 times 0.25 plus. Would you agree that this is 920? I mean, minus pala, no? This is 880,000. Minus siya ha, kasi looking back, nasa credit side si excess of cost over fair value. So, share in profit minus excess of cost, which is 20,000. So, we have 880,000. However, our investment income for 2020, so ganun pa rin, 3.9 times 0.25. Deduct again the amortization. And this time, how much is this? This time, it is 955,000. And lastly, our carrying amount. Kaso, the carrying amount na tinatanong is on December 31, 2020. So, 2 years na changes ang ato ang i-adjust. So, let's use again our T account, mahiwagang T account. Okay. Our cost was 20,000 times 120. So that's 2.4. We have share in the profit for 2019. That was 3.6, 3.9 pila tanan. We have 7.5 tanan. 7.5 million times 25. So we have 1875. We have dividends, right? Ang dividends is 16 and 20. Wala namang changes sa shares. So you have 16 plus 20, 36 dividends in total times your 20,000 na shares. So you have 720,000. Again, that was 36 times your 20,000 shares. So, ma'am, dili na siya i-times 25. Hindi mo na i-times 25 kasi naka-base naman tayo dun sa actual shares nga imuhang gi-own. So, kung imong gi-multiply ni sa 80,000 tapos nag-multiply po kag 25%, the same answer, 720. What else? Excess of cost. Tama ba? Of cost over fair value. For 2 years, that was 400,000 divided by 20 times 2 years. So we have 40,000. Okay. Asa naman tani? Okay. So, our carrying amount is 1,115,000. Bakit di lagi may pariha? Wait lang ha. Ay, mali ang pagkasum. Sorry. Ayan. So, answer is 3,515,000. Your cost, acquisition cost, share in profits, your dividends, and your amortization. So, answer for number 3 is 3,515,000. Okay? So, asa may mas dali? Ang mag-journal entry or mag-T account? Sa T account kasi, gusto ko si T account kasi kailangan lang hinumduman unsay i-debit, unsay i-debit, unsay i-credit, unsay iyahang partner, then that's it. I'm good to go. Okay? Sige, let me have this illustration. And this is a drill, okay? So, yung mga naka 3 points, kung pwede, bigay na natin sa iba, ha? Yung chance na to, bigay na natin sa iba. Let's start with Cynosure Company. Saan ba to? Okay. The question is, compute for the investment income for the current year. Compute for the investment income for the current year. So we have an answer from Angeline, 1.6 million. Okay. Kindly get the net. Okay, net. Okay. Naisip niyo mali. Net investment income. So, ibig sabihin yun na lahat. Mga naka-debit, naka-credit, increase, decrease na investment income. Sali na natin lahat. Please, mag-compute naman yung iba. Huwag naman yung pa-smile-smile lang sa camera. Yes, drill po. Yes po. So, magbibigay akong points doon sa makakakuha. So, Glemar, i-check mo na lang for yourself kung tama ba yung answer mo, ha? Saan ba yung attendance? Okay, we have Alright, we have answers from Arlie, 1.35 million. We also have an answer from Eber. Was it 2,215,000? And Angeline, we have 1.25 million. Ayan, iba-ibang answer. Gusto ko to. Sige nga, let's find out. Ay, dito nga pala yun sa Messenger. Cynosure Company purchased 40,000 of the 40% of ordinary shares for 3.5 when the net assets acquired amounted to 7 million. Okay, 7 million daw. What is 40% of 7 million? That's 2.8 million, right? So there is again an excess of cost over our carrying amount. So we have 3.5 or 3.5 million minus 2.8. There's a difference of 700,000. So later, ato na siyang tanawon kung asa na siya attributable. At the acquisition date, the carrying amount of the identifiable assets and liabilities were equal to fair value except for the equipment. So ito yon. Ito yung difference. Equipment for which the fair value was 1.5 greater than the carrying amount, and inventory whose fair value was 500,000 greater than the cost. Okay. The equipment has a remaining life of 4 years, and inventory was all sold during the current year. The investee reported net income of 4 million and paid 1 million dividends during the current year. So, ang tinatanong lang naman is yung investment income, then ano nga ulit yung mga items that will affect our investment income? Balikan natin, share in profit, fair value over cost, net fair value over cost, and excess of fair value. Excess of cost over fair value. So, in our problem, may profit ba? Yes, may profit. That's 4 million. So, compute tayo dito na lang. So, we have share in profit na 4 million times 40%, right? So, this is our share in profit. Now, amortization natin, however, sa excess of cost over our carrying amount, it was attributable to equipment and to inventory. So, atong isa-isahon, the equipment is 1.5 million. Tama? So, that's 1.5 times 0.4. So, we have 600,000. This is for the equipment. And the other one is for the inventory na 500,000 in which nabenta naman siya lahat. So, hindi natin kailangang i-divide ng 4 or anything. I-divide ng kahit ano or bawasan ng kahit ano. So, that was 500,000 times 0.4. Ito nga pala is for 4 years, right? So, that's 1.5 million divided by 4 years times 40%. So, that's 1.6, 150, 200. That was supposed to be everything. Pero, may isang item na kasali. We have another item here, net fair value over cost. And this is something na we have to compute for this problem. Yan. Di ba may isang item na kasali sa investment income? Ito nasa debit. Net fair value over cost. And how do we compute for that? Let's start with your cost. Di ba itong cost is 3.5? Ayan. And we have our carrying amount, which is 7 million times 40%. The difference between the two is 700,000. Okay. The 700,000, we call this the excess of cost over carrying amount na 700,000. Pero attributable siya sa duha ka items. We have the equipment and the inventory. The equipment, however, is good for 4 years pa. So, kanang 700,000, actually, mahinay-hinay na to na og kahurot. Maghinay-hinay na og kawala sa ato ang investment in associates. So, sige na to siya credit. Every year, ga-credit ta sa amount nga applicable every year. Mahurot ra na siya hinay-hinay. So, for the current year, pila ang mabawas ana? For the equipment, we have 1.5. Every year, for 4 years, dapat makabawas og 375. But since 40% lang man ang attributable sa atua, so we have 150. So that is minus 150,000. Your inventory, however, maghulat ta kung kanus-a mabaligya. Kung kanus-a siya mabaligya, saka pa nato siya i-deduct. But since sinabi niya naman na nabenta naman lahat for the current year, so i-deduct na natin lahat. So that was 500,000 times 40%. So minus 200,000 pala tayo. Therefore, the balance we have a balance of 350,000. Ay, sorry. Yung equipment pala is not ito pala yung equipment na 150 na income. So, sa equipment pala natin is, wag muna nating i-divide ng 4. That was 1,500, 1, 2, 3, times 40%. That was 600. Ayan. So, we have excess of net fair value, excess net fair value over cost na 100,000. And this 100,000 is again an increase in our investment in associate. Nasa debit siya, right? Ay, wala din naka-share. Ito yon. an increase in our investment in associate with a corresponding credit in investment income. So, balik ko na ako since hindi pala na-share yung screen. We have a cost of 3.5 million. Yan yung binayad natin. The carrying amount is again the 7 million times 40%. Getting the difference between the two, that is 700,000. So, asa attributable ang 700,000? First, sa equipment, we have 1.5 million. 40% of that sa atin, so that's 600. And sa inventory, we have 500,000 times 40% pa rin yung sa atin. So, we have 200. So, 700 minus 600 minus 200, we have negative 100,000. So, instead nga excess of cost over carrying amount, since nag-negative naman siya after nato na-distribute si 700,000 nga excess, we call this excess of net fair value over cost. So, kani, supposedly, gididak nato. Kung naatay negative amount diri ato na pong idugang og balik sa ato ang investment in associate. Kaya nga, in our T account, after nato nag-deduct diri sa ato ang credit para sa excess of cost over fair value, any negative difference, ibalik nato og debit sa investment in associate in the form of net fair value over cost. So, this 100,000 is ibalik nato and a corresponding credit on investment income. So, kaganina, nanatay share in profit, excess of cost over carrying amount. So, this time, nanapuntay excess of net fair value over cost. And that is in the amount of 100,000. So, ito, naka-credit, diba, tong excess of cost over carrying amount. So, negative yan. Therefore, our investment income is, hindi siya ma-add. $1.6, this is 1,500 times 0.4 divided by 4. Ayan. We have 1.65 net investment income. Minus 150 minus 2, minus 2. Okay. Ito yung debit, share in profit. Ito yung credit. At ito yung another debit. So, a total of 1.35 million. So, nakuha to siya. Giunsa ni pagkuha ning 100,000. So, una, gikuha na to ang difference. Excess of cost over carrying amount. And then, pangitao na to asa siya attributable. So, based on the problem, it is attributable to the 1.5 equipment, 40% atua, and 500,000 inventory, 40% gihapon atua. After deducting, we realize nga, ay, nasubra naman hinuon og deduct. So, ato siyang ibalik og add sa investment in associate. And ang ihang partner, again, is investment income. So, andito yon. And ito yung amortization. So, ang equipment, 600,000 divided by 4, kaya naging 150 kasi 4 years. Yung inventory, however, nabenta na lahat this year, kaya automatic, i-deduct yung buong 200,000. So, investment income, ang buong 200,000 na deduction. So, the one who got it was, wala ganin naka-share screen. Okay. The first person who got it right, we have Arlie, 1.35 million, and Risa Sanchez. So, this will be credited to Arlie's participation point. So, Mr. Torres, wala ka na ding chance. So, naka 3 points na ka. So, give chance to others na pod ha. Okay. So, just a recap. Nag 3 points na si Glemar, si Kamasura, si Loro, Torres, and Cuico. 2 points naman si Alfanta Jeril, and then 1 point for Giliera and Bisana. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. So, That is for our drill. So, check na ko kung napatay another drill. Ayan, meron pa tayong another drill, so you better watch out. This time, we will cater losses. We will talk about bypass company, and my question for this is, how much is the investment, how much should be debited in the investment in associate account for year 2019? Here is the question. Ay, sige. Mali pala yung question ko. So, question is, how much is the loss for investment on year 2019? Hello? Ba't parang wala nang nag-answer? Okay, we have 1 million from Miss Sanchez. Ay. Ano ba yan? Ano yun?
Ma'am, magsulod do si Jeriel.
Mr. Alfanta, wala namang notification. Walang notification. Nakasulod naman to siya ganina. Pag nag-re-enter lang ka, parang diretso naman. Ayun dear, how much is the loss for investment on year 2019? Andito po, sinend ko. Okay, we have another 1 million from Miss Alfanta. Ano yun? Tumawag siya. Wala yung notification nga gusto mo sulod si Jeril. Wala. Ayan, oh. Okay, sige na lang. Sige. So, let's proceed. Let's compute for the loss. Ganito yon. Pag nag-invest ka, di ba supposedly, ang ato ang goal is maka-benefit ta ato nga investment. So, unta, napuntay share sa ilahang profit, di ba? Murag mo man gyud ang ato ang main goal. Unsa ganito ang investment for accumulation or accretion of wealth, di ba? For appraisal and mga uban pa na mga benefits. But this company, ambot lang pod, pataka lang pod siya invest. Nag-invest siya sa usa ka kumpanya nga grabe gyud ang mga losses. Bypass company acquired a long-term investment, long-term pa jud may pagi-trading lang to niya no, para short term lang. 7 million for a 40%. Ayan, sugal. In an investee when the fair value of the net assets was 17.5. The investee reported the following. So we have these net losses. Year 1 pa lang na siya loss nga 5 million. And let's prepare an entry maybe for this. This is bypass 7-7. Okay. Let's prepare an entry. So first for year 2016. Nado tay loss. Unsa ganito basta na ay loss? Debit or credit? Diba we have to credit our amount, but before that, set up sa ta investment in associate. And then we na lang. Ano siya? Debit in associate and then credit unsa na ni? Credit cash for 7 million. And then eventually there was a loss of 5 million in 40% is ours. So 5 times 40%, so that's 2 million. Check mic test. Putol-putol. Choppy. Okay na ba? Or hinay lang dyan akong signal. Feel ko ako din, may problem din. Okay na? Arlie? Hello? Okay na?
Okay na, ma'am.
Okay. Sige. Okay, naglo-loading pa. Loading pa, naglalag pa ang ako ang worksheet. Kumusta naman si Ayi? Wala talaga eh. Balikan na to. Wala, Jud.
Naano ko, ma'am.
Ay, nana ka. Makasulod ra ka. Actually, kung nakasulod na ka, tas nakahawa, pag sulod di magbalik, dili na nako kailangan i-admit. Diretso na siya. Sige, ambot. Unsay problem ato. Sige. Welcome back! Okay. So, balik tayo. Gawa tayo ng journal entries. We have, on 2016, we have investment in associate. Debit investment in associate and credit cash, and that is for 7 million. 7 million ba ang ato ang gibayad? Yes. 7 million. And then eventually, naka-experience of loss ang company. So, we will have a loss on investment. And, di ba pag loss, i-credit man to na to ang investment account. So, investment in associate. Our share is 40% and ang iyang loss was 5 million. So, 5 million times 40%, we have a 2 million shares sa iyang loss. So, looking at our entries, 7 million and then nabawasan og 2 million, pila na lang man ang balance. So, we have 5 million na lang ang balance, no? However, in 2017, ayan, may loss na naman siya. Lagi na lang loss ang company to. Bakit pa tayo nag-invest dito? For 2017, ang iyahang loss was 7 million. And then 8 million, 4 million. Okay, 7 million. And our share, once again, is 40%. Dako pag yun kay tag-share. Ayan, 2.8. So, pila na ito? 7 million, nabawasan og 2 million. That's 5 million. Minus 2.8, pila na lang? 2.2 million na lang. On 2018, ayan, may loss na naman. However, siguro para sa investor, ang investor dito ay si Bypass, di ba? Para sa kanya siguro, feeling niya, kailangan ng additional capital ng company para makabawi sa iyahang operations. So, ang ginawa ni Bypass, on the second paragraph, Bypass company made cash advances. So, pinautang niya si investee with the hope na unta makabawi. However, on December 31, 2019, kasi nga nung 2018 na pinautang niya, loss pa rin. Mas nidako pa yun ang loss na himong 8 million. So, on 2019, it is not expected that Bypass will provide further financial support. So, parang, okay, ayoko na. Tama na. Okay? So, yun yung mga nangyari dun sa problem natin. So, on 2018, January 1, to be specific, pinautang ng company yung investee. So, advances to associate. Diba naman isa to ang receivable and this is considered a non-current receivable. So, dugay-dugay pag yun ni bago niya mabayran. Pinautang natin siya ng how much? 2 million. Pinautang ng 2 million. Okay. However, in 2018, wala gihapon na bawi. So, there was again a loss of 8 million times pila gani 40% ang atua 3.2. But take note, this is what the standard says. Kung nagani sa gunson nga losses or kung naka-experience og losses ang investee, ang katong kumpanya nga atong gipalitan og shares, we are going to record loss on such investment up to the amount of our investment. So pasabot dili pwede mo sobra sa ato ang investment. So if our investment originally na ay 7 million, nabawasan og 2 million tungod sa loss, nabawasan na po og 2.8 tungod sa loss. Therefore, we only have 2.2 na lang ang pwede natong i-absorb. But, looking at the 2018 financial statement, ang kailangan i-absorb nato daw is 3.2 because that's our share, 40%. But atong kaya na lang i-absorb is 2.2. Dili ta pwede nga mag-negative investment. So, 2.2 na lang atong i-credit dira and not the 3.2. So, there is a difference of 1 million, right? And asa man ni nato kuhaon? This 1 million investment, difference, pwede natong i-net, dito nato i-offset sa ato ang advances to associate. So, ibig sabihin, ano na ni? Kanang murag naka-write off na good, kanang dili na good nato mahuna-hunaan na ato paning makolekta. So parang ganun. Kaya ato na lang pong gideduct. Parang hopeless na ta nga ato ang makolekt og balik. So on 2019, wala lang gihapon siya nakabawi, right? On 2019, na pod siya loss ng 4 million, pero at least murag medyo hinay-hinay nagkagamay. 4 million. So, again, this is a loss on investment. Napabatay ika-loss? Napagyod. Napatay balance ato ang advances. Advances to associate. So, that was 4 million. Times 40%. So, natay share nga 1.6 sa iyahang loss. However, di ba wala natay investment in associate, na exhaust na tanan, nagamit na tanan, na loss na. And then, ang atong advances, natay 2 million pero nabawasan na og 1 million tungod gihapon sa loss. The balance na lang is 1 million. But we have 1.6 daw nga share. Sabi ng standard, kung wala na gyud, kung wa na. So, 1 million na lang jud atong kayang i-absorb. Kung di jud, di jud. Kung di jud makayag absorb, so 1 million na lang. So, our answer there is 1 million. And ang nakakuha this time is Miss Sanchez. Although Hartzell has the same answer. Ayan. So, sino nga ulit yan? Sanchez. Okay, Miss Sanchez. So, ingato ha, what's new about this problem is losses. Hindi sa lahat ng panahon hayahay ang company. So, ayun, may losses na nangyari and up to the amount of investment. So, ma'am, what if wala ta nagbuhat og advances diri? What if hindi natin siya pinautang? So, kung wala nato na siya gipautang, wala tay laing choice kundi ang atong i-absorb na lang. So, wala nato siya gipautang ha. Kani, kung wala ni nahitabo, pwede wala. Kung wala ta nagpautang sa iya ha, and then I lost nga 3.2, wala tay laing choice kundi 2.2 million lang jud ato ang ma-absorb. And then this one, wala na. Sa 2019 nga loss, wala na din tayong i-absorb. Kasi wa na jud. Okay? So, yun. That is for bypass company. Okay. So, it's 11 o'clock already. But let me have an overview kung unsa ning what is this other accounting issues pag abot sa investment in associates. We have this what we call downstream or upstream. Downstream, upstream nga mga transactions. Okay, hello Miss Sanchez Pariente. Okay. Upstream, downstream. So, unsa maning upstream, downstream? This happens when there is a transaction between the investor and the investee. This could be a sale of inventory, a sale of property, and some other things. So, hindi naman sa lahat ng panahon, bawal jud silang mag-transact or ang ilang transaction lang yun kay dividends, share in profits, etc. So, napoy mga times nga na sila yung mga normal na mga transactions. So, we have this upstream and downstream transactions. Let's begin with upstream. Upstream. Kasi diba, ang hirap nga diba nito. So, balikan ko ang okay. When we say upstream transaction, the term upstream, so gikan sa ubos, padulong sa taas. So, kinsa man ang nasa ubos, ang associate. It means, si associate nagbaligya og something kang investor. Okay, so this is the associate, this is the investor. Associate, nagbaligya og inventory, for example, or nagbaligya og equipment sa iyahang investor. So, that's an upstream transaction. Downstream naman, on the other hand, is the opposite way. Si investor na maligya kang associate. So, that's a downstream transaction. So, the PAS 28 says nga kung naay mga ingana nga transactions, i-adjust ang atuang profit. So, kung atong hunahunahon, example, ako na ako'y kumpanya nga ABC. And then, I also have this X company in which I am an investor. So, nag-invest ko kay X company and I have 40% ownership or interest in the company. So, si X, sakita no, si X nagbaligya sa ako og inventories. So pagbaligya ni X sa ako para sa iya sold na to. Tama? So na siya ginansya. Pag-present niya sa iyang income karon, I was thinking na wait, ginansya lagi ni, pero part sa iyang ginansya is napa sa ako wala pa na ako nabaligya. Kasi gibaligyan, di ba, kunyag inventory. Part lang man siya sa ako we have this aka single economic entity. It's as if ako gihapoy tag-iya ani nga kumpanya. At some point, at 40% interest, ako'y tag-iya sa X company. So, kaning iyahang income nga gi-present sa ako is actually not, kung ako ang hunahunaon, is not yet an income. Not yet an income in the sense nga katong iyang gibaligya sa ako is naa pa sa ako. So, wala pa talagang profit, wala pa akong profit na realize. So, what do I mean by this is, katong profit nga iyahang gi-present sa ako tanggalan to sa profit nga iyahang na-earn sa iyahang gibaligya nga inventory sa ako if the inventory is not yet sold. What if namaligya siya inventory sa ako Kato nga inventory ako na pong nabaligya sa gawas. So nagka-profit na siya kay iyang gibaligya sa ako, nagka-profit na pod ko kay gibaligya na ako sa gawas. If that's the case, wala tayong adjustment na kailangan gawin. Pero again, pag naapa sa ako ang property or ang inventory, i-adjust natin ang profit ni investee. The other way around naman goes the same. Ako na maligya sa iya. So para sa ako ay salamat naka-profit nako kay nakabaligya nako. Pero napaman sa iya tag-iya gani ko sa iyang kumpanya, di ba? So it means ay wala pa day ko nagka-profit kay naapa dito sa ako ang anak. So, kailangan niya pang ibenta yun sa labas bago ko masabing may profit na talaga. So, again, i-adjust natin. Pero pag nabenta na, then, okay na. The profit is real or the profit is already realized. Okay? So, what if karon na year wala na benta? So, adjust. Pero kung next year na benta, edi, adjust na din kasi na-realize na siya. So, ganun yun. Upstream tsaka downstream transactions. So, there are other items na na-discuss din sa part 2 ng ating investment in associate. So, what if daw kanang na-achieve nato ang significant influence by stages? For example, nagpalit ta sa ato ang investee og 10% interest. Di ba 10% dili pa man na-associate? Di ba? So, kung dili pa associate, dili pa ta mo gamit og equity method. But what if next time nipalit kog additional 10? So, pila na tanan ako ang interest? That's 20%, right? Uy, makinig mo na. That's 20%. So, I could now use the equity method or I should now use the equity method kasi yun yung sabi ni standards na pag naka 20% ka na or more, kailangan equity ka na. So, i-adjust ko ngayon ang books ko from cost method or whatsoever method that I am using going to equity method. The same din pag ganito. Ni-acquire ko 20%. So, dapat na nako'y significant influence. So, equity method na ko. So, what if akong gibaligya ang half of it? So, 10% na lang. So, kung 10% na lang, I could not use the equity method. That's what the standard says. So, dapat ako na po siyang i-adjust para dili na siya mahimong equity method. There is again a big difference if you use the equity method. Kasi imuhang i-credit ang investment kung nakadawat kag dividends. Pero sa previous chapter nga atong na-learn, di ba pag nakadawat kag dividends, ang imong i-credit dividend income. So difference 'yon. Naa kay share sa profit. Sa equity investment nga itong gidiscuss last chapter or previous lesson, wala ka namang share dun sa profit ng company. Wala kang pakialam. Right? Then, i-consider pag yun nimo ang excess of cost over fair value, etc. Pero under dun sa previous lesson, wala din tayong pakialam dun. Right? So, naay mga changes. So, dapat ato na siyang i-adjust if maabot ta sa point na dili na ta pwedeng mo gamit sa equity method. Or maabot sa point na kailangan na ta mo gamit og equity method. So those things, ando naman siya sa part 2. So maybe magdi-drill ulit tayo next week kasi next week investment pa rin naman ang magiging topic natin. So, magdi-drill ulit tayo. Ito na yung overview nun, so hindi na ako magdi-discuss. And then, proceed naman tayo sa remaining topic sa investment. So, I guess that's it for this morning.